This is Rocket the Rottwheeler, a robotic wheelchair dog by Jules Jones. In recent years, the lack of diversity and representation in media and toys has become a common talking point on social media and in the news. While there have been strides to increase diversity and thus representation across the board, companion robots haven't seen much change in design. There are a multitude of companion robots for people with various disabilities, but none that mirror these disabilities themselves. I wanted to create one that did, which led to the conceptualization and creation of Rocket the Rottwheeler, a robotic wheelchair dog designed primarily as a companion toy for disabled children. And yes, Rottwheeler is a pun. We all know that diversity in children's upbringing is a necessity for a progressive society. Rocket exposes children from all backgrounds to the concept of mobility aids as something normal. Representation in all forms is important, especially for minorities. Seeing ourselves in the world around us is important for development and something that many minorities have not previously experienced in a positive way. Rocket is affordable and accessible, costing less than the average companion robot by utilizing 3D printing, low-cost servos, and an Arduino board. The way many healthcare systems are set up around the world can lead to having a disability being costly, and I believe that having a companion robot should not be exclusive to the rich. While Rocket is primarily designed with disabled children, particularly wheelchair users, in mind, many other groups can benefit from them. People such as disabled adults, people with learning disabilities, and children with disabled family members also benefit from the diversity and representation previously mentioned that Rocket brings to companion robots. Rocket also gives children with no prior interactions with people with disabilities the ability to learn about the differences some people have and opens the way for guardians and teachers to have these conversations with children in an organic way. Rocket might also have the added benefit of increasing people's openness to having a disabled dog. Most families with children getting a pet usually let the child pick which one they want. As children tend to like their reality to mimic their toys, there's a chance they would be more likely to pick a disabled dog because it's like Rocket. This would reduce the amount of disabled dogs in shelters and being put down. As someone who is not artistic, CAD is one of my weakest points. Getting Rocket from a very messy concept sketch on a piece of paper in a lined notebook to a fully fleshed out design in Fusion 360 took a lot of planning and work. In the end, it paid off, as Rocket's full design ended up being a major point of pride in my life. Rocket consists of a body which houses all the electrical components and is connected to the underbelly. The thigh is connected to the body and the calf to make up the front legs, and the back legs are strapped to the wheel bar which joins the wheels. The wheelchair is then harnessed to the head via the collar. The components I'm proudest of out of all of Rocket's design would be the thigh, calf, and head, as they were the hardest to conceptualize and design. Having them brought to life via the 3D printer was one of the biggest milestones of this project. For the thigh, the top is rounded to mimic a real shoulder and hip joint. Another reason for rounding the edges was to make it safer for children, as child toys typically don't have sharp edges. There's a circular cutout at the top of the thigh to attach the servo horn, which would attach the height to the hip joint. A rectangular slot is cut out at the bottom of the thigh to insert the servo to the, which would connect the thigh to the calf, making the knee joint. The calf mimics the thigh to keep the design cohesive. It has the rounded top to mimic the knee joint and to make it safer for children. There is also a circular cutout at the top of the calf to attach the servo horn to join the thigh and calf to make the knee joint. At the bottom of the calf is a spherical foot that's slightly flattened for aided stability. Finally, we have my biggest struggle. My first attempt at making the head was so atrocious that I didn't even capture it. Attempts 2 through to 4 are seen at the top right hand corner and were not very animal like and were frankly atrocious. The snout was very pointed and the eyes are kind of creepy. After a helpful YouTube video, I just attempted again to make the head using form, which ended up with almost like this very much canine-like face. It has symmetrical ears and a snout, and lots of rounded edges for previously mentioned reasons. Here we see what Rocket looked like fresh out of the 3D printer without yet having a collar or a harness to attach to the wheelchair. Here we have Rocket with the collar and harness, and you'll also notice on the left hand picture that the wheels are a different color. This is because there was a slight error with the printing. 3 wheels were printed, but because they were all printed by different 3D printers, the wheels ended up being different weights, which offsets Rocket's balance, as you will see in upcoming videos. Here we have Rocket walking before the collar and harness were attached. And here we have Rocket walking with the collar and harness attached. As you can see, I'm lightly resting my hand on the black wheel to stop Rocket from off balancing. However, I am not pushing or aiding in the walking process in any way. Here we have Rocket shuffling backwards. It is a slow going process due to an error with the wheels. However, you can tell by the gaining distance between Rocket's legs and the wallet that it is indeed moving backwards. Once again, my hand is just lightly resting on the back of the body to stop Rocket from off balancing. However, I am not pulling back or aiding the process in any way. Thank you for your attention to my video on Rocket the Rottwheeler. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned something. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good night.